What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Real Reefing TV. I'm Cody Brates, and I'm here to share my real experiences in the hobby, give you guys knowledge that you can use on your reefs. And today I'm going to be going over how I went about the Aquascape in this 300-gallon system and how you guys can keep your rocks from falling and smashing your glass. Now, this video comes per request from Andrew Newton. If you'd like to see something featured in one of the future videos that you have a question about, drop that in the comments below. Now, I'm not going to necessarily do what Andrew Newton requested was a down and dirty version of actually putting it together. That's what he wanted to see. And Andrew, if you're watching, go down to the description below and you'll find a couple of videos that I found for you that have done a great job of displaying just that. What I'm going to do in this video is teach you guys exactly what I did, my thought process behind the Aquascape in this tank, and how you guys can kind of mimic some of those same techniques. Use your own creative process in putting together your scape to create a visually appealing aquascape and have plenty of room for the placement of your corals and keep your rocks from sliding around. So first thing you're going to need to do is choose the type of rock that you want for your aquascape. In my tank, I chose a mixture of pukani and Fiji for this build. You may see a couple of different types of rocks in there, and that's mainly because maybe it came from one of my older systems, but what I bought mainly was a little bit of Fiji and mainly pukani. Pukani is a very light and porous rock, whereas Fiji is a bit denser, but has some neat shapes to it. Now, what I use to put the rock together in this tank is Aquaforest Stonefix. It's basically like cement for your rock. And what I'll tell you is, you want to try as much as you possibly can. Now, sometimes we gotta rescape because we just hate the way it looks or we need a change, right? I've been there. But try to set up your aquascape before you put water in. That will make it so much easier. In fact, when I was aquascaping this thing, I was actually in the tank, walking around in there, putting it together. So this Stonefix is actually a cement that is reef safe, and it doesn't take very long to harden up, and it's actually kind of dusting out right now. If you guys can kind of see in there, it is a very powdery kind of substance, and it looks basically just like cement. Hardens up in a matter of minutes. You want to definitely make it in small batches and bond the rocks together. Get it looking kind of just like you would plumbing. Get it dry fit together. Make sure you like the way it looks. And then take this and mold that around and push it in the crevices of your rocks, and that'll bind them together. If you're working with a smaller scape, or you want something that is, you want to put it together before you put it in the tank, you can also go another route, and I have a little bit of this spread around my tank as well. This is an epoxy putty. I'll drop a link in the description below, also for the Stonefix and for the super glue. And what the epoxy putty does is it comes in a tube, it's a stick, and it has two parts to it. Until you cut a piece off, knead it together, that's what starts the chemical process that hardens the material. And so then you'll mash that together between the two rocks. Now, what I like to do as well is get a ball of this ready to go, and before it starts to kick or set in or harden, put a dollop of super glue on both sides of it and mash that rock in. Number one, that'll help the super glue get into all the little crevices and bind all three of those together with this. And that'll create a nice hard structure that all of it will adhere to. So a little bit about the process and what I went through, the thought process behind the Aquascape in this tank. So what I wanted is I wanted something open, I wanted something with arches, and I also wanted something segmented. I didn't want it all together. I also wanted some type of kind of a ravine or a channel, if you will, similar to what you might see on a reef. Now, I've never been diving, want to go diving, would love to go diving, but I've seen things like this, and it really, at least that aspect, I really like and wanted to showcase in this system. Stupid lights. So on the right side of this tank is the largest structure, and the left side is the smaller structure. What I wanted was something that, again, arch. So it starts over here, comes up along the wall, goes around the back, and there's very few touch points against the actual glass of the tank. But maybe one back here in the very back behind the green Passiflora. And then also on the left-hand side, I'm sorry, the far right, behind maybe that blue chalice or the Sponjotus. And because I wanted flow to be able to get all around the rock work. This is important because you don't want necessarily any dead spots where the water isn't moving. That can create bad juju for your tank. So anyways, I also wanted something that's going to provide a lot of surface area or rock exposed to the light that isn't necessarily going to be shadowed. Now, I did an okay job with this. I also could have done a little bit better. So if you see right here in the center, there's a large shadow right here. And that's because the rock work is very straight up and down, 90 degrees. So if you can, try to create more bulging or flowing rock structures rather than a cliff that goes straight down, because all you'll be able to do is put the corals on top, and it'll be very difficult to fill in the rest of it with corals because it'll all be shaded. Now, I also wanted to create some flatter rock surfaces towards the bottom of the tank for zoanthids, for acans, or any LPS that I wanted to add down there. And so I've done that with this kind of front, I don't know, a little like peninsula, I guess if you will. And so it's got all of my zoas and pallies down here and chalices and more lower light corals. And then that way on the top half of this section here is all SPS, and the same thing on this side. Now another fault is on this side of the tank. I also could have done a better job at making it a little bit more visually appealing. It's very flat up here, and which is great, and I think that once I fill it in with SPS that are going to branch upwards, I think that'll solve a lot of that problem, but right now it looks very flat, and I don't like it. But it is what it is for now. We'll go ahead and we'll let the SPS that I have on there grow out. So look, in this scape, everything is put together with either the epoxy putty, super glue, or Aquaforest Stonefix, that kind of concrete mixture that I showed you earlier. And you can't see any seams within this tank. I mean, I'll show you around here in just a second, give you guys a shot of the rock specifically, but you can hardly see any seams, especially in this front area here. I really like the way that was put together. And everything is staying exactly where it should be. I don't have any rocks tumbling over. And I'll tell you, that's the #1 reason for tank scratches, is you kind of set the rocks in there precariously. Oh yeah, that should fit, that should stay. You get a snail that pulls through there, knocks it over, right down your glass, and now you've got a scratch there forever. So do yourself a favor, set your Aquascape up right the first time, get it all put together, secure it with epoxy putty and super glue and that Stonefix that I talked about, and you'll be a lot happier for it. I promise you that. Hey look guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you did like it, smash that thumbs up button. If you have a comment or a question or a concern, or you want to see something on a future video, drop that in the comments below. I will get back to you. I've been taking all the feedback from you guys. I love it. Keep it up there, my Real Reefing fam. Also, if you haven't subscribed, do it. And stay tuned, stay salty, keep it real. Peace.